Hello there, Peter.
Hello, Davie. How you doing? You alright?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Fantastic. Feeling a wee bit under the weather?
Aye, a wee bit peaky.
Yeah. And it's not a hangover, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
Davie
not
had
this
jab number 2 yesterday, so it's always the day after.
Yeah, it's like a
It's
hangover.
always the day after.
But
So.
none of the fun.
Hello, Christine. Hello, Christine, and hello, Adam. I saw Adam Usami on there as well from Music from Scotland. Ladies and gentlemen, delighted to have you. Please share the show about as normal. We've got 2 fantastic guests for you tonight. We've got from Orkney originally, now living in Glasgow, Mr. Graham Rory, on fiddle player, great player. Hello, there's Dick Hamilton joining us tonight. And we have, in the second half of the show, we have Robert Whitehead from Northumberland, the accordion player. We had Robert on over a year ago now, when the show started very, very originally, but this is a new format completely, so we thought we'd bring him back. It was just at that time when we had him on, he was just recovering from COVID, so we thought we'll give him a clean kick at the ball for a change. So what have you been up to, apart from getting injected?
Working. Back to work last week, so just a solid week of work.
Going okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Fine. A lot of travelling. About 100 miles a day or something like that.
I had a wee interesting afternoon this afternoon. I didn't really know about it until yesterday, but Andy got in touch. Andy plays fiddle with us. Andy Kane, and he said, "You didn't fancy playing? I've been asked to do Keith Virtual Music Festival."
All right, yeah.
So we done a wee show this afternoon. It was great fun, absolutely fantastic, son. Fair enjoyed it. And that's been running all weekends. Just a wee plug for Keith Virtual Music Festival. It's on Facebook, folks, and other concerts are recorded. So you can jump on. There's a few past guests at this show that I noticed in one of the big concerts last night. Barbara Dimmock and who is it? Michael? No, Chris Mara.
Chris Mara.
and Iona Fife was on as well. So there you go. So there we go. Oh, thank you very much. Jamie Starr says it's nice to have our company.
Oh,
Hello back to Nova Scotia. So anyway, folks, please share, and get it about, and we'll get going. Davey, are you wanting to play tonight, or do you want me to play?
Sure.
You wanting to play first, or do you want to play second?
Don't mind.
Up to you. We'll give you the choice.
You're
We've been
so
nice to you
kind.
tonight. So. I know. Well, it's just because we're kind of concerned about you, you know.
Oh, you shouldn't be. I'm fine. I'll go first. I'm going to play a slow tune called Nameless. It was on Fred Morrison's album Outlands. So I'm going to play that first, and then I'm going into a tune by Asturian, Galician piper Anzo Lorenzo called In the Shadow of the Wolf.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Wow, that was quite a bit of pronunciation stuff going on there.
Yeah,
That's
it's probably
not
wrong
bad.
as well. It's probably wrong.
That's not bad after COVID jab 2 to manage to get that. That's good.
Yeah. And it's warm here as well, which doesn't help.
Alright. It's no warm here, that's for sure. Anyway, here we go, folks. Here's Davey. Share about, share, hit that share button and share all over the world and a few other places as well for us. That would be fantastic. And here's Davey with a couple of tunes. Well done, that man. That's what time's in it? Was that second one in?
It's supposed to be a reel.
Alright, okay. Alright, cool.
Yeah.
Brilliant, fantastic.
What were you,
Good.
Peter?
I'm going to do a wee set of 9/8 marches tonight. Because I like playing 9/8s, and you never get a chance to because there's no dances. So somebody out there that writes dances, why not write a dance for a 9/8 march?
Mm-hmm.
And a 3/4 march. There's no dances for them, and they're great wee tunes. So the first tune I'm going to play tonight, I'm playing 3 9/8s. The first one's a tune by a guy called Davie Hunter. Do you know him? No.
No.
It's this book here. It's Now It's My Turn or something. It's called.
Yeah. Oh, it's good, that book.
Yeah, it's a good book. A lot of nice pipe tunes in it, and other tunes. It's not all just pipe tunes. There's different bits and pieces in here. But it's a tune called Mr. and Mrs. Meeks. Welcome to Kilkenny. Is that right? Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
What? Tell us a wee bit about that tune.
That was written for Ali Meek, who you've probably seen on the show as a viewer. He asked me to play at his wedding at Kingenny Country Estate, as they call it, I think. Country Resort.
Oh, okay.
So I wrote my wee 9/8, and essentially every time I play at something and he's there, he expects me to play it for him. It's like his anthem.
Okay. And Ali's one of the Athol Highlanders as well.
He's one of the Athol Highlanders, yeah. He is one of the soldiers, yeah. He's also my best man in 4 weeks' time, so.
Fantastic. Well, there we go. So that's the first tune. I'm going to play The Heights of Dad Guy, is the 2nd one. And the last one is another one I use, and it's called Shilling and Fitz.
Oh, that's handy.
So tell us about Shilling and Fitz.
Shilling and Fitz are the premier Highland wear manufacturer in Perth. Everything's custom made. I've got a pair of tartan trews set up there made by Fitzy, and I've got a pair of tartan socks in that drawer over there, which were acquired through Fitzy as well.
Well, do you know
He's
something?
a master tailor.
He would have to custom make something for me, because believe me, there's not much off the peg Fitz myself.
You'd be surprised, Peter. You'd be surprised. We'd all be surprised, to be fair.
Thanks very much. Playing your tunes for now. Right, I'm away.
Cheers,
Here's a couple of 9/8s, 3 9/8s. Enjoy. Cracking tunes, Davie. Cracking
Cheers,
tunes. The thing I really like about your tunes is they're fresh, they're new, they're modern, but you can put like an old classic like The Heights of Dargai right in the middle of them and they'll flow, and it works fine. So you're still very, very in the genre, so really good. So there you go, folks. If you'd like a copy of Davie's book, now it's my turn. Davie's forever bringing everybody else's books out and putting them all together. So jump onto Davie's website there and buy them, and that'll give him some extra spending money when he goes to Malake on his honeymoon.
That's a start.
And a few other places.
A
few other places. But there we go. Brilliant. So, that's really good. So nice to see lots and lots of people joining us now. That's good. And such a bonny night. Well, it's not a bonny night here in Shetland. It's raining and grey and windy, and in fact it's just an average summer's night. You know, so
you're not selling it, Peter. You're not selling it.
No, I do sell it sometimes. So anyway, folk loving these tunes, so that's magic. We've got two brilliant guests for you tonight, so I think we'll get on with the show. I don't think we've got anything else to tell folk about yet, have we? No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Let's go on with this. Here is this young man coming on first, originally from Orkney. Well, he's still from Orkney, but he lives in Glasgow now. Let's bring on Mr. Graham Rory. Hello, Graham.
Good evening, chaps.
Hello, how are you doing? Are you alright? Are you fine?
Not bad at all, yeah. No.
Magic, good.
Yeah, some lovely playing there. That was sounding great.
Thanks very much. You can come back on the show anytime you want. That's always a good way to start. There we go, folks. Now remember, now we've got these guests on at great expense for you. So remember, if there's any questions you want to ask the guests and that, pop them in, because I'm sure we're quite happy, as long as it's within reason. We don't want any strange things going on. But that's it. So how are you doing, Graham? How are you? Are you well?
No, doing grand indeed.
Good.
Been a roaster here in Glasgow. I think we hit 23 degrees the day. I've actually had to block out the sun a wee bit so that you can see me, so no silhouette done. But
I saw that there's a follower of the show down, I don't know, he's down south somewhere, like Murdo McRae, and Murdo, I noticed he put on it was 28 with them today.
Oof.
Yeah, so we didn't even get 2 8s in Shetland. We didn't even get 16, never mind 28. But that's it, so that's good. So what have you been up to, sir? Much in the lockdown, like the rest of us, doing very little or doing bits and pieces? Or?
It kind of started off being very little, and I quickly realised that I should maybe give myself some kind of focus. For a lot of folk think that just picking up the fiddle all the time will just come naturally, but if there's nothing to work towards, it's kind of hard to motivate yourself to keep plugging away. So I'd done a show at Celtic Connections 2019 of a project called the Arcadians of Hudson Bay, which is all to do with folk from Orkney in the kind of 17th and 18th centuries went across to northern Canada to work for the Hudson's Bay Company. And that was a few years in the making to do that Celtic show. And I was on the lines, that'll be...
Because we're going to speak about that quite a bit later on, because we've got a track from that as well, which we're really looking forward to. In fact, well, I've seen it, folks, so stay tuned, it's cracking. It's absolutely brilliant arrangements. So I'm really looking forward to the story of that. We'll get on to that. And have you been doing any teaching or anything like that as well?
So kind of just general bits of teaching on Zoom and things, and it's been great too, just as a focus and a thing to break up the time. I did a weekly run of lessons. Just for the last 10 weeks I've just kind of clued it up, but plan to keep it going, because it's nice to do things like this as well, that you can get communicate.
You grew up in Orkney. Where were you from in Orkney again? Were you?
So I grew up on the island of South Ronaldsay. So if you get the boat from Gills Bay, it lands in St Margaret's Hope, and went to school there, and then went into Kirkwall for secondary school.
And of course, the South Ronaldsay is joined to the mainland Orkney by the Churchill barriers, isn't it?
It is, yeah. No, it's funny. It's something that I totally took for granted. I didn't really get if the school bus is going over it every day, but knew every time I'm back, you suddenly realise quite how interesting that is.
Oh, it's fantastically interesting, and there's so much history down in Orkney as well, and especially in the wartime, and and like say Hudson's Bay, but we're going to speak about your project later on, and John Ray and everything. There's so much, and that's before you get back to the Vikings and all these people. So
that's it.
So there's plenty going there. Do you fancy giving us a wee tune to get us going tonight?
I'll maybe start with.
Because we've got a couple of videos and we're going to do a couple of live things, and if you could just tell us a wee bit about it and that, and the numbers are growing steadily here, so this is wonderful. This is great. We're getting a good broadcast. So remember to share it about, folks, and we're going to have some interesting conversations. Take it away, Graham. Tell us what you're going to play.
So I'm going to go with a tune that was written by a man called Davie Unson from Dernis in Orkney, and he was a fiddle player and a fiddle maker, and I think most communities kind of have them, a bit of an all-rounder that also contributed loads of amazing tunes. And it's a tune that it hadn't really caught me ear. I always kind of knew of it as a well-known Orkney tune, but I'd kind of never really gotten stuck into it, and I heard the amazing box player Billy Peace, who is also from South Ronaldsay originally, and it was just a stunning version of it. It was kind of like you say, it was still, when you're saying about Davie's tunes, it was completely within the style and the genre, but he made it sing in a way I hadn't heard before, and it quickly became one. I think it's definitely my favourite Orkney tune. So it's called The Watchman's Polka.
Brilliant.
Which might confuse folk because it's not really a polka by standard definitions, but that's what it's called anyway.
What's a polka between friends?
That's it. So.
Fantastic, Graham.
Cheers.
A very Strathspey sound to it.
That's it. Yeah, it was.
And it's
Scottish sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of floating between the lines. Don't really tell what it is.
Do you think that the Northern Isles tend to do that? They would tend to float in between the lines a wee bit sometimes, between the West Coast sound and the Scottish sound and the Norwegian, and
It could be simple, similar to the the Pinky Dance from Brittany. That sort of kind of that one. Yeah. There must be a Viking version of that somewhere.
That's
Maybe it is. I don't know. Do you think
it's
I would
funny.
be
Like
I've
just
never seen
that
myself as a pinky dancer.
time yet.
Peter,
That's
take
a
the floor.
lovely region.
Yeah.
Lovely region.
So up until this year, you were in the Young Trad final this year, weren't you, as well?
That's it. Yeah, just in January. Past,
Yeah, and that was the final that almost didn't happen because of the fire alarms.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, that was right. Yeah.
It was a bit of an experience. We were all sitting, because folk will maybe have seen the front of the BBC studios in Glasgow here. There's a kind of glass backdrop that shows you out onto the Clyde and the hydro and all that bits and pieces. And we were in through the back in the radio studio, kind of just about holding ourselves together to go on. I think it was maybe kind of 20 minutes, and it was at the stage you're like, oof, have I got time to grab a drink of water and a trip to the toilet? And then the alarm goes off and they say, leave your instruments, January in Glasgow, don't tuck a jacket. And, that was us, smoke billowing out to the roof.
Yeah.
See, when they say to musicians, leave your instruments.
That's
I mean, it's the worst thought in the world. You would never want to leave your instrument, would you? You would just want
yeah,
to...
I would have left a load of the folk in and tuned me fiddle out anyway.
It's times like this you wish you were a singer. You just take your instrument with you.
That's it.
So in a build-up to ending up in Young Musician of the Year, back to Orkney, is that where you got tuition to begin with in Orkney?
Yeah, so I was very lucky. It's something I kind of spread the word of a lot. Orkney's one of the last local authorities. In fact, I think there's maybe one in Dundee and one other one north of Glasgow that still do free instrumental tuition. And it's a huge thing for Orkney. We're very lucky to have world-class tutors in brass and strings and woodwind. And I had 10 years of fiddle lessons with the quite wonderful Douglas Montgomery when I was at school. So I think it was primary 4 I started, and then I had 10 years then, half an hour a week.
Fantastic.
And yeah, very, very
when you
true to that.
When you touched on that, it's fantastic. Yeah, Orkney's managed to keep that free the whole time. But I do notice one of the initiatives of the new government that we've voted in is they're hoping to make it free everywhere again.
I'm seeing
So,
that.
I hope they do. I really hope they do, because we all need music, as we know, and look what a saviour music's been in these lockdowns for people. It's kept people going. So it's time to. It's very easy to chop down a tree, but it takes a long time to grow it again, and that's.
For sure.
I think that's what we need to pride ourselves on. And Orkney has always been very fun, and where somebody like Douglas.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Great. What a tutor. We had him on as a guest as well not that long ago, and he's just such a great guy. He's so into his job, he's so energetic, he just loves everything. He's great crack.
It's actually through Douglas that I met Graham.
Right.
Yeah, the night before the AC/DC gig in Glasgow, Douglas decided to put a gig on his AC/DC tribute band Rocker, and then bring in most of the Arcadian kind of folk musicians that are left in Glasgow and call the whole lot of folkies. I was the only non-Arcadian on the bloody stage. It's like, just me. Yeah, it was a good night.
Did you understand Did you understand everybody, Davie, round about you with a
keys are keys, aren't they?
It's interesting. Somebody put a comment in there just now saying about loving to hear all the accents and that, and the Arcadian accent's a cracking accent. It's just so lyrical and it's like singing. It's just magic.
Yeah, I don't have a singing voice at all, but if my speaking voice covers it,
goes for Peter as well.
Yeah. What's due? No,
we're not starting that
right.
again.
Okay, but anyway, listen, we've got a track, Graham, haven't we, playing at the Young Musician this year?
So this is part of your final the track Isabel.
Yes, that's right. So it was just a short kind of 15 minutes we had to do in the final, and I'd
It's
hummed
a
and
good
hayed.
job. Good job if the building was burning down. You wouldn't want
That's
to be there
it.
much longer than 15
Everybody in and out.
So what's this tune then? Tell us a wee bit about this.
So this one's called Isabel, and it's part of the project that we'll speak about.
Okay.
And it was a young lass from Orkney who decided again, early 1800s, that she'd had enough all the fellas having these opportunities to go to Canada and work, and they didn't let women cross. So she dressed up in her feathers clothes and called herself John Fubister, and she signed up and headed across to Canada. And she worked there for 2 years without any of the management or bosses knowing. And then she arrived at one of the chief's houses one stormy night after doing, I think it was over 1,000 kilometres canoe trek. And she arrived at the house looking for shelter, and he'd written in his diary that this young lad arrived at the door. And then about an hour later, he hears this screams coming for the living room, and here she is giving birth. And that was the first moment that the chief factors discovered her. But it was a kind of mental story.
Wait a minute here. Somebody else must have known she was female.
So the first point that any of the bosses realised what was going on. But yeah, no, it was inspiring to that point. And then when I read further in, they decided that she still wasn't worthy of a job there, so they waited for the next boat to be, and she was sent back with her PD boy to Orkney, and that was her. She never ended up with anything. So it's a pretty mental story, but I felt kind of bad for her.
Yeah. Wonder when she shaved her beard off.
That's it.
That was. Well, you would have thought they would have noticed she never grew a beard as well after a while.
Awful well kept, full of that.
Exactly, yeah. How they were brought up. Yeah.
Let's go for this tune. This is This is great.
There we go.
Graham. Fantastic. Really, very, very evocative. That.
And you didn't win.
No.
I do.
That's the things you have to put up with, a fire in the building and all that, and they still didn't give you a prize.
That's it.
Somebody had written a comment there actually saying they loved it, and it was something that struck me straight away was the sound of your instrument. It was just beautiful there. It sounded fantastic.
That's it. No, I'm really lucky. I've actually got an Orkney made fiddle. It's
really
a chap that's worth a shout. It's Mr. Colin Tulloch in Kirkwall.
Oh, okay.
He made this for me about 5 years ago, but
it's a beauty. What a sound!
Yeah, no, very, very chuffed with it. So an extra shout to Colin.
Is it made out of an Orkney tree?
It's no, dude. They were too rare to go making fiddles.
Yeah, there's not many trees to make in anyway. Same up here. Tell me, I want to mention it now anyway, but that tune there is on an album as well. That's on the album we're going to speak about later on as well, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
That's on your new album. And the best place, folks, to go for Graham's albums and finding all about them, etc., is to his website. And then I think Karen put that up there as we go. So first port of call, folks, jump onto it, and it's a fine, easy website to remember. GrahamRory.com. That's great. It's lucky that's your name.
I know.
It was a good site to get.
I always think I've got two first names and two last names if you think about it, but they managed to make it work. And that's Colin's site there as well. If anybody's fancying a new fiddle.
There you go. That's Karen's found that. Who
She's
found
on the
that?
ball tonight.
Yeah. Was that you, Davie, or Karen?
No.
Was that Karen?
No, it's all Karen.
Davey's just trying to stay focused after job number 2. That's all right. But listen, reading your bio, Graham, really interesting because you were one of the founding members of NOS. And I take it you say NOS, don't you?
Yes.
You don't say GNOS.
Silent G. That's a slightly more difficult website to find.
Yeah. So you were one of the founding members, and that took you to a lot of festivals. That took you a lot of places as well, didn't it? Because I noticed you played Celtic Colours in Canada and some of these festivals. That must have been a great experience as well.
Yeah, been really lucky to get to see huge parts of the world. Just myself, I went to school with the guitarist Aidan Moody. We both went to secondary school together and kind of did bits and pieces of bands and things at school, just as you do. And then we both moved to Glasgow at the same time to study traditional music at the Conservatoire. And we kind of decided early on, we thought, we'll get the gigging thing going, because the studying was great, but if you're wanting to go and do music kind of full time, there's so many players that you need to get the ball rolling pretty early. So
I think you do, and I sometimes think people sit back a bit too much with the they go right through the 4 years and then think, oh no, what am I going to do now? And you could have been building up your profile, etc., as you were going through the course.
It's always the same when you've got a pool of musicians and they're all coming at the exact same time, and they're all kind of looking for their unique selling point, and that's what it is. If you've been in a band since day one, it's probably the easiest way to kind of carry on and keep the ball rolling.
That's it. It's a time to learn too. Like I think if me and Aidan listen back to things we were doing in first, second year uni, we're cringing a bit, but it meant that we could develop a lot and just get used to gigging and having a bit of a presence and things. So yeah, been really lucky with the experiences we've had with that over the last wee while. It's been pretty magic.
You picked up the award, the Danny Kyle, didn't you, with NOS at the Celtic Connections as well?
That's it, and it's an amazing thing too. I've known Liz Clark for a long time. She's heavily involved in programmes, all that, and me and Aidan actually played with a band called Broken Strings about 10 years ago, and we came down, I think we were third year of high school, came down to the Dannies for that, and Liz kind of led us through, and that was my first experience of Celtic Connections, and I think that was a fairly major point for me. I was like, this would be alright to do year in, year out.
When was the last album out by NOS? Was that 2019, was it?
There was one in 2019, and we've literally just seen out another one at the start of May. This year. So that's a new one called
can folk get them from your website as well, or do they have
Yes,
to go to
there's
website for them?
there's a link to that on me one. There's a wee bit for the Hudson Bay album, and then there's a wee bit for the Nos stuff as well. That'll link you straight to that site. But Nos Music kind of takes you to everything for that.
Magic. Just before we go on to the... By the way, somebody asked, I must just point this out, just in case you think somebody said, what on earth am I drinking? But it's not a pint of red wine. Please don't think that, people. It's diluting Vimto. That's it. I think somebody thought, that man drinks pints of red wine.
that reminds me of a song that Maureen Jelks used to sing in the sessions, Give to Me a Pint of Wine.
That's a good song as well. Nice old song. Yeah. But before we go on, because the next bit we're going to talk about is the Hudson Bay story. And how's about getting us a wee quick tune before that?
Yeah, so...
And then we'll dig into this and hear your motivation behind it and all sorts of things, because it's a real nice story. So what are you giving us this time?
So I'm going to get you, just after saying a lot about moving south, and I suppose to an extent learning loads of Orkney tunes, and then when I came to Glasgow I discovered some more amazing players and just added them to the listening list, I suppose. So the first one is one that was written by a man called Jimmy McHugh, and I learnt it for Alistair White for the Western Isles. Amazing fiddle player, one of my favourites.
Great character as well, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Some character, Alistair.
So it's called the Flooded Road to Glenties, and then I'm going to go into another old one for the West Coast called the St Kilda Wedding, that I hadn't really heard very much, and it was a version that Mike Vass played. He did an album years ago with a man called Dave Wood, and just, again, it was one of that tunes that I'd been aware of, and then I heard this version and thought, I'm going to have to play that at something. So yeah,
it's amazing when you get that, isn't it? A version or an arrangement that can just tune you into a tune.
Absolutely,
and it can make you really want to play it. It can be a tune you've known for years and years and not paid much attention, and then you just hear a stunning arrangement or version and you think that's it.
Yeah,
that's the tune.
Indeed.
I'll borrow that one. Take it away, Graham.
A couple of borrowed tunes for Sooth.
Sounds good.
That.
dancing.
Cheers.
Dancing.
Thank you.
Great play. Great play. Now, very important what we're getting to here. Great. So, in lockdown, but you said it had been happening since before lockdown. You'd been working towards doing this project about the Hudson Bay. And you've eventually got it done, and you've got an album out. So tell us a wee bit, what inspired, obviously Orkney inspires you to do lots of things, yes. But what inspired you to pick on this topic, etc., and go with it?
Yeah, so it's funny, it's literally just been I think obsession wouldn't even be too strong a word. Just over the last year, been a total focus, and in the lead up to that, there'd been a few characters, like I'd known that Isabel Gunn story for a wee while, and a chap called John Ray was quite a famous explorer, but just over the last few years we were encouraged to do a bit of research about maybe things from home and how it could relate to our music while we were at uni. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed a lot of albums by folk that were inspired by a theme. Mm-hmm. You'll maybe have heard some of Hamish Napier's stuff. He's got a lovely suite of albums.
He certainly has.
Myred Green as well, the box player, and just a few that all kind of came out around the same time through the New Voices series at Celtic Connections. And I'd always thought that the Hudson Bay connection to Orkney almost needed a soundtrack. Mm-hmm. And I thought I'd just have a shot at it. So essentially I tried to use it as a theme, but not a kind of literal, this is exactly what's happening all the time, so that folk could kind of have a soundtrack to the stories that would also stand as its own on music. And there was a lot of characters. So Isabel Gunn, obviously, John Ray, who was he went out and he started off as a surgeon and then worked his way through the ranks, and they realised he was really adept to exploring and mapping. And he was brought in to try and discover the fate of a Royal Navy expedition into the Northwest Passage. It was a kind of obsession of explorers at the time to link the Atlantic to the Pacific. And the Navy expedition from London had gotten stuck. They had these state-of-the-art ships, and they'd gotten stuck in pack ice and been trapped there for a couple of years. And John Ray had gone in and spoken to the Inuit folk there, and essentially realised that they'd resorted to cannibalism. Mm-hmm. And he went back to London with us, and the captain, John Franklin, his wife, Lady Jane, and Charles Dickens started a kind of PR smear campaign against him, saying the Navy would never do a thing like this. And he was effectively written out of history. In fact, he's only just gotten a plaque in Westminster with his name and date of birth, but Franklin still is credited with discovering Ray Strait, which was the link that John Ray discovered en route to discovering the fate. So there was loads of stories like that wound me up to write a bit of music.
Yeah, so basically the moral of the story there is, if you ever end up stuck somewhere and end up eating someone, just don't tell anybody about it.
That's it. Yeah.
Because it goes wrong. Because poor old John Ray, if he hadn't said anything, he'd probably been alright.
That's it, yeah.
Which is to be fair, those Argentinian rugby players that crashed into the Andes, they were okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
The Uruguayan.
Was it Uruguayan, was it? That was
yeah. One of them interviewed me at a radio show in Uruguay in Montevideo once, and I didn't realise he was one of the survivors.
No bite marks, no?
No, I escaped one.
Licking his lips the whole way through the radio.
No. I meant to ask you something as well, Graham. Just this is nothing to do with the Orcadians or Hudson, but I thought I forgot to ask you. And that track we played from Young Musician, so was that a lockdown period of time as well then?
Yeah. So we were all.
So how did you manage to get a haircut like you had then? Because that was some dapper haircut you had at that point.
That was kind of to the rougher stage. I just kind of tried to stick it to my head as much as I just hoped I wouldn't move when we're out in the wind.
All right, but anyway, back to the album. have you got a lot of other musicians and collaborators on this album with you as well?
So I was lucky to get funding for Creative Scotland, so that was the first part of lockdown, getting the application for that together, and then I recorded it in Glasgow with the band that played at the Celtic Connection show. So I had a chap called Rory Matheson on the piano, a stunning keys player for Ascent, and then I've got Padraig Morrison on the accordion. He's for North Uist, brilliant player, and he was working on a PhD in composition, so he was quite a handy person to run things past as we went. And fellow Arcadian Kristen Harvey on the fiddle. Much to her disgust, anything that I found that I wrote was too difficult for me, I just passed into her part. she covered that wonderfully.
That's the job as a composer, isn't it?
That's
what you do.
I said, me work's done here, so she could look after that. James Lindsay for Breba, he's for Inverurie, amazing bassist, and a really distinctive style that just slots in. And then a lass called Signy Jakobsdottir, lives in Mulgai, but originally family for Iceland. But a lovely percussionist. She's not, I use the term lightly, but she's not just a drummer. She drummers are hugely talented folk, but she's got a huge range of things she could contribute and really help.
Not a typically Mulgai surname, right enough.
It's actually quite common in Mulgai, actually, Peter.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've not been there for a while, actually. There's maybe quite a lot of them about. I don't know.
That's it. No, so quite a dream team involved in the album.
It would have been fantastic. And how did you go about it? Like, did you say this is what I want, or did they put in wee bits and pieces and say how's about this? Or?
Most of it was scored, so I sat in this very chair and everything was written out and scored for them. But they've all got they've got a distinct style, but really kind of malleable to slot in, and they all worked really nicely that they could, like, between Michelle and Kristen's playing, we've got slightly different things, but she was just brilliant for locking it in together. And so I wanted them to have their own accent, but the notes were there for them.
I like that comment that came up there. Did you say that? I think that's somebody over in Canada saying, or America saying, we knew about the Acadians, but we'd love to hear about the Orcadians. I like that. Acadians, Orcadians. Oh, that's brilliant. Right, listen, I think we'll have a wee listen. How long is this? How much music was there, minutes wise? There's quite a lot in the album, isn't there?
I think there's just over 40 minutes on the album.
Yeah, it's quite a long piece. It's a long piece. So we're going to have a wee listen to this, folks. I was listening to this through the week after Graham sent it, and it's incredibly touching. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed this piece of music. And the arrangements are top class. Absolutely fantastic. Lovely arrangements. And it's strange. I said to somebody earlier on that, and you mentioned Douglas Montgomery and that earlier, and I always take my hat off to the arrangements that the Orkney bands come up with stuff like this, because you guys seem to have hit the nail on the head with this a lot of the time, and it just sounds fantastic. Thank you. Enjoy this, folks. I'm sure you will. absolutely sublime. Absolutely fantastic. That takes my breath away. What an incredible arrangement. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Brilliant melodies, but the arrangement behind. Who can I ask? Where did you record all that?
It was recorded at Glowworm Studios in Glasgow with a man called Andrea Gobi. He's an amazing engineer, and he did the live sound for the gig at Celtic Connections, and we arrived in the studio on the first day, and he says, so do you want to try and capture that energy for the live gig?
Oh, yeah.
And it was as much an art what he managed to do with the sound as anybody playing, so yeah, he really helped.
The sound and the mix and everything's just phenomenal there. It's just absolutely wonderful. You can hear absolutely everything, and it's just so good. It's just when something touches you, you hear a high string away up there high somewhere, and then all of a sudden you hear Mr. Lindsay's bass note doing something at the bottom end, and it's quite incredible. It's absolutely fantastic. So, folks, the whole album, you should go on and purchase one. So jump on to Graham's website, www.grahamrory.com, and I'm sure he would be quite happy to send you one. I'm sure
that would be just
happy.
Lovely. And it's got some lovely artwork by Jane Austen, a keys player. She did some painting. I can show you all there. She painted all this stuff for us. So
Jen that plays
piano. She did play with Farah.
Yes, Jen that used to play with Farah. Yeah, that's right. And because she is an incredible artist as well.
Yeah, some lovely stuff.
Fantastic. Graham, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. Folks, if you look at Graham's website, it's a great site. Jump on, have a look, and hopefully we'll get back to some gigs before long, Graham. And hopefully we'll catch up in real life somewhere rather than over the cybernet here.
I know, indeed. No, well, thank you very much for having me. It's grand to see you.
The cybernety thing. I call it the cybernety thing. Anyway, that's a good technical term. But listen, thanks very much. Thanks for giving up your time, Graham, and I hope the album goes brilliantly for you, and I'm certainly going to be getting one, that's for sure. So we'll see you before too long, and you take care and look after yourself.
Grand.
Thank
you, folks.
Thanks.
Cheers now.
Cheers now.
See you soon.
Cheers.
Ta-da.
Wow, what a musician, eh?
Yeah,
stunning
stuff. And actually, what's really good is I'll get to see a lot of that scenery in 5.5 weeks.
That's right. That's a part of your honeymoon tour, isn't it? Fortnight.
The Western Isles end up then finish in Morocco.
You wouldn't see it up to that height unless you hire a plane right enough. But
you don't know what I've got organised.
We got a wee helicopter up there in Orkney.
Hot air balloon.
Oh, air balloon.
To be fair, for somebody that's scared of heights, it doesn't really help me. So.
And if the wind comes, you're going to end up in somewhere like Sweden or something like that.
Or Shetland.
Shetland.
Turn up in your garden.
Who's put that comment on? Oh, they want to let you in looking like that. He'll be better by then. Don't worry. He'll be feeling better by then, Carl.
I got tested on Friday. I've not got COVID. It's fine. I'm okay.
No, he hasn't. He's just suffering a bit. But anyway, I was wanting to say a quick congratulations to the fiddler from Tarlin, Paul Anderson. I noticed Paul had been named in the Queen's list.
Birthday honours,
Birthday honours, and has been awarded an MBE. So congratulations to Paul from all the Tartan Tunes team. And the funny thing was, when we started this show way back, the first times in Canada, the first 2 shows Paul was on as a host as well, and Ross McNaught and myself and Shona Donaldson, Paul's wife. There was 4 of us at one point, and poor guest that got brought on got interrogated, but we only done that for a couple of weeks, and then that was that. So, but I've known Paul for many years, played with him in a few ensembles and different bands, and great player, and great guy, and very deserving, and nice to see him getting an award. So congratulations, Paul. Well, and he told me the other day when I was speaking to him yesterday, he's hoping to head up to record a new album. I think he's going to come up to Shetland to record a Scott Skinner album, all Scott Skinner's material. So I'm sure we'll get him on the show in the back of that. And
Peter, where's your MBE?
No, I don't know. I think they'd one look at me and went, no.
No.
That was
Maybe.
That's it. It's just famous people that get MBEs. You know.
Where's your OBE?
I haven't got any BEs.
Navies.
BO maybe, but that's it.
On that note.
Right, listen. Our next guest, as I said, was on a very long time ago on the show here. Well, he's not actually been in Tartan Tunes. He was on whatever the Canadian thing was called. I can't even mind what it's called now. Whatever we called ourselves at that point in time. So, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Northumberland, let's bring on Mr. Robert Whitehead. Hiya, Robert.
Good evening, guys.
How you doing?
Davie? I'm doing fine. I'm really looking forward to following Graham. That was absolutely mind-blowing music. Fantastic.
Some musician for a young lad.
It's unreal. Yeah, follow that. Yeah.
Rob, you're looking very tanned. Has it been sunny down your way?
Oh, it's been very sunny. Yeah, we've had like 24 degrees the last few days. I tan quite naturally because I worked in the garden centre that long outside in the summer, and as soon as the sun comes out, I kind of go brown. And
you worked in the garden centre for quite a number of years as well, didn't you?
About 15 years.
Yeah.
I gave up actually because I was so busy with the music just before the COVID.
Yeah. It's just typical. It's tough going that, isn't it? Because Ewan Galloway, the box player, the accordion player, Ewan was saying he was a postie, wasn't he? And he gave up the working for the post office to go full time, and then COVID hit us. I mean, that's real hard luck when that happens.
Right,
you know, that's not so good. So.
To be fair, they're the busiest kind of occupation through COVID, apart from the nurses, and that was the posties.
That's right.
And you couldn't go in the shops, you had to buy everything online.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
And now they're delivering test kits by the thousands to everybody, so it's just the way. So, but Robert, the last time we saw you were just getting over COVID. How are you feeling now? Are you all right now?
Oh, I'm fine. Yes. I got COVID very, very early, the first week of the lockdown, or the first night of the lockdown, and I was poorly for about 3 weeks, and then turned the corner. So I'm fine now. Forgot about it. That was last year. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good that you're getting there again. And then we'll chat about things as we go along. But you were saying you'd got a bit of playing going this week again, which was fantastic.
Yes, we're absolutely delighted. After being off more or less 15 months, I got the first couple of care homes last week because I do a lot of during the daytime, doing care homes and hospices and so forth. And I've got 2 private homes booked last week and the week before. Obviously tested before I went in, and this week we started working for Music and Hospitals in the Care again. My friend Tom McConville and myself we do that as a duo. And we've had 3 care homes this week with them outside in the gardens. Has been fantastic because the weather's been great, and it's onwards and upwards hopefully.
And I bet the participants are absolutely delighted to see you again.
They're absolutely screaming for entertainment. So were the care staff, you know. They were just delighted to have something going on in the care homes again.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. It must be it's been a long, lonely 15 months when you think about it for a lot of these people. And it's
terrible.
Just been that. But I wonder, do you fancy giving us a wee tune? We've got a couple of videos tonight as well. We're going to touch it.
Yeah.
But what do you fancy giving us tonight?
Well, let's start with a set of jigs.
Brilliant. And remember, folks, if you've got any questions, pile them in and say hello to Robert or whatever you want to ask us, and we'll take it from there. So, what jigs are we having, Robert?
Fine. Not sure yet. I think we'll start with Pete's Peary Boat, and then Hogmanay jig, and a couple of Rankin tunes as well. Super.
Magic.
Here we go.
Take it away.
Oops, nearly forgotten how to play.
Great stuff, Robert. Great, brilliant.
What was that last tune, Robert?
Donaldine Rankin.
Yeah.
Donaldine Rankin, yeah.
Has to be one of the best known jigs, I reckon, in the world, nearly.
Well, I know. Well, there's a variation of that. It's called the Fiddler's Rally by Gordon Walker.
Ah, yeah.
Which is
Yeah. Now we had this discussion one night before as well. I mean, Andrew Rankin wrote it long before Fiddler's Rally ever came along.
Yeah.
But yeah, very similar. They're on that theme, very on the theme. Of course, the first one, the Donaldine Rankin's well out the pipe scale, of course, but still got that flavour. Yeah, just using that quavers and that distinctive way. So great stuff, Robert. Tell us when I asked you about a bio, and Robert said to me, "Oh, I don't really like speaking about myself," and I said, "Yes, I know." You said this thing though. You've been selling your life on Zoom meetings. What's this? What have you been up to? What's that about then?
Desperation, really, isn't it? You know, we've had no work for 15 months, and it was either the life story or my body. But I thought my life story might go better. This all started actually. You know, we've all been on the road for years and years, and my band started when I was at school. I started playing, believe it or not, 62 years ago since I took my first accordion lesson. And then I had my band trio before I left school, and Alan Brown and John, my brother, and myself, who were playing before we had driving licenses. And it was a villager from Shilbottle. I was brought up in the village of Shilbottle. I was born in Newcastle, briefly just born in Newcastle, and then my family home was in Shilbottle beside Alnwick. So I grew up in the village, and as one of my old school pals from primary school days contacted me a few months back and said that he was writing a history book of Shilbottle, about the characters in Shilbottle and the mines and all the workings over the years. And he said, "I'd like you to be in it." He said, "I'd like a few words from you and a few photographs, because you're very much part of Shilbottle's history." And I thought, that sort of frightened me a little bit. I thought, I'm in a history book here. And I said, "Oh, not really, you know." And he says, "Yeah." Says, "You are." He says, "You know, you played the accordion when you were 10, and you've lived there so long." So I put it to one side and waited, and then eventually the pressure came on, and Barry phoned me. He said, "I need this information in a couple of days' time." So I said, "Right." So I sat down. At the same time, Rob Howard asked me for the similar sort of story for the anthology, the accordion anthology. And he wanted 1,500 words. So I thought, crumbs, 1,500 words is a lot of writing.
Back to university,
and when I sat down, when I realised, I said, to be honest, it was only 30 words per year that I'd had the band. So I thought, if I couldn't write 30 words for each year I'd had a band, I was struggling. So I sat down and I put, bullet points and started, and I got quite interested in what we had achieved from start to finish. Not that we're finished yet, but from the early days when we had the trio, we used to play around the local village hall dances and things, and then the Danelaw band came along in '69, which I mentioned the story about that. We turned the 3-piece into a 5-piece overnight for an audition for Opportunity Knocks, and ended up on the programme. And the Danelaw band was born in '69, and we've travelled ever since with very few changes in the band personnel, which I'm very, very proud of. So I thought I was quite proud of this story of the band, you see.
Absolutely.
So I put it all together to Barry, and I sent it off with the photographs. I said, "You can take out of there what you need for your history book, you see." So he came back and he said, "Robert," he said, "I'm going to give you a full chapter in the history book." He says, "There's too much to miss out." So he put in, so he put in a nice, almost a full chapter in the book, which has just come out. It just came out last week. But at the same time, I was asked to do a Zoom for Newcastle Royal Scottish. Obviously, a lot of the societies like yourselves have been keeping in touch with via Zoom over this period, and they've been having just monthly gatherings, and the secretary Sheila Trafford asked me if I'd come on and talk about the band. So of course I was already primed with what I had done for the history book and for Rob Howard's thing, so I started off and I said, please ask questions, and I actually talked for an hour and a quarter without any interruption at all, and everybody seemed fascinated, and I got quite quite nice thank you from them for it, for the the stories, because I was actually able to boast a little bit, to be honest, I'll tell you, and because a lot of the things that we have done over the years, a lot of the dance clubs and the dance people who book you don't realise what other things you've done, like going abroad and playing and travelling to America and travelling to Cyprus and places like this, and Uganda. I went to Uganda with Andy Kane, and little stories like this that a lot of the ordinary dance clubs
I don't know what, I'm not sure what would have been more dangerous, going to Uganda or going with Andy Kane.
Well, that was a combination, It was the usual Andy, it started off 3 days and we were there a week. That was a good start. It was fantastic. But so, I told them the story, and I got quite carried away with the little stories and things about, a dance club sees you arrive at a dance at 7 o'clock or whatever, you set up, you play from 7:30 till 10:30, 11 o'clock. Nowadays, early days you played from 10 till 2 or 3, but and you pack the gear up and you get in your car and you drive home, and it's normally on the way home where all the incidents happen, like a car breakdown or punctures and all this sort of thing. You spend all night getting home and sometimes straight to your work, proper work the next day. So I was able to tell all this, and they got quite interested, and through that Market Harbour Dance Club came onto me, and I normally play for them once a year in June, and they phoned to cancel the June dance, and they were talking. I was just talking to Kevin down in Market Harbour, the chap that runs, Kevin Marchant runs the club, and I said, I've just done my life story on for Newcastle RSCDS a couple of nights ago, and he said, would you do it now for us? I said, yeah. So we ended up, I did it for Market Harbour Club, and out of the blue the next day they put a nice amount into my bank for me doing the story. They had a whip round, so and then it just branched from there, and I've done Ribble Valley. I did a Cayley for Ribble Valley, and then I told the story there, and I'm about to do, I've done one for York, and I've got to do one for Cambridge Society next, so there you go. That was
that's a new. It's something that's probably come out of the situation we've ended up in that you possibly would never have got round to.
I wouldn't have got round to though.
Yeah. So I like these supportive. Did you see that your darling wife Judith put? We all know how much you love to talk and play music to people. That's nice, isn't it? And then Andy Kane. Andy Kane says he is listening, so we'll have to insult him a bit more yet. So but right, we're going to have a wee bit of music here. Next wee bit of music is a video that you sent in. Now this was lockdown time, wasn't it? Was this you and the boys managing to get together briefly for a tune, an outside tune?
It was an outside tune on the patio, on the new decking that we laid outside the summer house in lockdown. Because you do all these jobs trying to fill the time in. So we've got the hedges cut and the grass cut, and we laid new decking. And it was at the period where we were allowed to get 2 households or 3 households together in the garden. So we set all the gear up on the decking, and we had a merry afternoon. So this
brilliant.
Was part this of what came out of it.
This is a wee waltz. This is an Ian Powdery tune, isn't it? Mickey,
That's
Jimmy
right.
and Mickey. Jimmy and Mickey.
Yeah.
A wee continental style waltz. Jim Halcrow always asked me if I thought the second part sounded more Norwegian than continental, which I never knew, but there we go. So he never told he never ever told me what he thought either. By the way, he just asked me. He never told me. But anyway, here's this wee waltz.
Lovely, thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Ready?
Smashing. Great stuff. Cool. Now, that was Alan Brown on the piano with you there. Alan, as you said, has been playing with the band since the beginning.
Since the beginning, 1965, I met Alan, yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, that's a long time.
Long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, and then that was your son Graham on second accordion.
On the second box, yeah.
And of course, in lockdown, Graham's become a dad. Him and Amy have had a
He has that, yeah.
baby.
Very proud dad, yeah.
That'll sort him out.
he's absolutely besotted with the little fella. So
I bet he is. I bet he is.
As we all are, you know.
Yeah, that's great. So, and obviously, but it's been quite a family thing, the band as well, because Christopher, your other son, was in the band as well.
Yes, Christopher plays second accordion, and then...
And of course, right back to the Whitehead brothers, that was right at the start, so it's always been a family.
That's right, yes. My brother played the drums. He lives in Crieff now, John. He retired to Crieff. But,
all right, okay.
Yeah.
So, what got you into the Scottish country dancing side? Because you said before, so I take it when you were playing around the Northumberland, was it different dances? Was it round the room dancing, or was it set dancing?
Yes, it was mainly what you would class round the room dances, the old time dancing. When we first started village hall dancing, we were very, very privileged to have a lot of the Scottish bands, the top Scottish bands in the 60s used to come down into Northumberland. Like Jimmy Shand, a regular visitor, and Andrew Rankin, and then Jim Johnston, the Wick Band, they all came down. So we were able to grow up with those guys, and we went along to the dances early days and used to play at the intervals, the supper intervals. When the band went off for the supper, we would take over, and that's how we kind of got known round the circuit. And then we picked up our own little gigs from that. But it was all round the room dancing. There's always, and then a Scottish, Alan was an Irish step dancer. Alan and his wife, they were in the Tyneside Irish dance team. And that's where I actually met him, playing for them. And we used to do a lot of Irish ceilidhs on Tyneside. There was a big Irish contingent down in Evan and Jarrow. And they used to have big ceilidhs. The Gallaglass ceilidh band used to come across for those. And the Liverpool ceilidh band and Dermot O'Brien, all these guys, and we did a lot of Irish playing as well, you know, for the Irish various dance clubs. And then,
so here
branched into the Scottish.
Yeah, so hearing the Scottish bands got you into playing that style as well. You even had a tune with Jimmy Shand one night. Did you not play with Jimmy Shand?
We did, yes. We had actually it was a broadcast. It was a local. It was in the days of the White Heather show, and the local Radio Newcastle decided, and the Heather Mixture on the radio. Chris Blair out of Newcastle Royal Scottish. He was vice chairman. He was quite an influential character, and he knew a lot of people in Radio Newcastle. And he said we can do our own Northumbrian barn dance program, and that's what they did. They did a series on Radio Newcastle. But Chris was a very good friend of Jimmy Shand's, you see, and it actually, what happened, we were the main band on the stage, and then they had guest artists singing and playing various instruments, and he managed to entice Jimmy Shand down, and we accompanied Jimmy Shand, and he played along with us. Blew our mind.
Fantastic.
Really good.
I mean, that's what it's all about, though, isn't it? And then obviously once you get into the Scottish country dance, I'm looking at some comments here, and I'm not sure if I'm jumping the gun here, but I see Richard Wood. Richard Wood has put a comment on there saying that he loved that waltz and it was beautiful. We had Richard on as a guest a couple of weeks ago. Richard from Prince Edward Island and over in Canada. Phenomenal fiddle player as well. So it's a real nice comment. Nice to see you, Richard. Hope you would fare well. And so then you got into playing Scottish country dancing, and that took you all over the place. That took you all over the bit.
Right. Yeah, we had obviously the local Newcastle RSCDS was the second largest club in the country at the time. They had about over 600 members. Edinburgh had about 700.
It's amazing.
Amazing. And it was difficult to play for them because obviously they were so big, and they were able to invite all the Scottish bands down. And they had a local band. David White and his band was more or less their local band in the day. So we were relatively new and young, and of course they were a bit nervous at hiring the band to start with. But we took on little dance clubs, and I had been playing a Scottish dancing class with the local dance band, the Cheviot Rantes, on a Wednesday night when I was, sort of still at school. So I knew a bit about the barring and this sort of thing, the original tunes. And then eventually we actually got the chance to play for one of the Scottish dances, and we had to pull the stops out and make sure that we did everything right. And Andrew Rankin was a great help, because Andrew was in the area. He he moved into the beer keller circuit, and he gave us 3 dances in about 1972. Asked me if I could help him out and cover 3 dances. One was at Southport for Alex Queen, which will come into the last set of tunes, I think. And then we played in Leeds and Nottingham for Andrew, and through that, obviously those 3 areas, the news of the band spread, and we've travelled the length and the breadth of the country since for Scottish dancing. So
and you've done quite a lot abroad. You've done quite a lot of the overseas schools as well. And
we did. We played 2 or 3 times in Holland and Germany, across to Germany. We played in Essen about 3 times. We actually drove straight home from Essen one night. We played at the dance and came straight home after the ferry straight home. So that's the furthest I think I've driven straight home. And crazy things. And then dancing holidays we organised through John Semple Travel, of course, in his day, to Mallorca, Cyprus, Portugal, and places like that. And
brilliant.
Yeah, we enjoyed.
Always great fun. Great fun with the musicians and the dancers, though, when you all get away with something like that, because it becomes very social. And I think that's something we've all missed a bit now, is the social side, just getting a chat. And I know, like say Davie there, Davie goes along regularly to a session, and he's the pub at the Fisherman's. And you're really missing these things now when you don't get a chance to just chat with people and get a blether. So anyway, when you went back to the Northumberland dances, I think you said earlier on, when we get you to play us a wee set of tunes, you talked about playing a wee set of hornpipes.
Hornpipes,
didn't you? Yeah.
Now,
and of course, hornpipes were quite famous in your area.
Yeah.
Lots of hornpipes going for your area, and of course you used them for Strip the Willow as well, didn't they? They used to dance Strip the Willow too. Where we used jigs, you used hornpipes.
That's right. We called the dance down here Drops of Brandy, which is, of course is the same dance as Strip the Willow. And it was traditionally done to hornpipes down here. Sadly, the things have moved on, and now at weddings and Cayleys and things we just use jigs, but hornpipes is traditional.
Yeah, let's have a real set of hornpipes for you. That'd be brilliant. That'd be magic. And we're going to chat in the next wee bit about your new album that's out, and then that'll be great. We'll have a wee blether about that. That'll be fantastic.
Thank you.
What are we starting with, Robert?
I'll start with the Reedsdale hornpipe, which is traditional. we say it's traditional Northumberland, but it was written by James Hill, who wrote the High Level hornpipe, and various others. And then we'll do the Boys of Blue Hill and King of the Fairies, I think. you. Thank you.
Brilliant. Great
Cracking,
to hear the
cracking set.
hornpipes. Great to hear the
Thanks,
hornpipes.
Irish.
I love that last one.
Lovely. That's an Irish tune. It's an Irish set dance. The King of the Fairies normally played slower than that, but we use it as a
Right.
hornpipe, and
Brilliant.
nice
Brilliant.
tune.
Now, tell us then, Robert, through lockdown, you managed to get
Yeah.
a new album out. You managed to get a new CD out as well. And
We
it's got a
have.
very, very, very topical Shetland name. It's called Simmerdom. And we're nearly at Simmerdom. We're nearly at
That's right.
Simmerdom.
What's some of them?
Simmerdom is what in Shetland the 23rd of June, is it? No, 21st.
21st
of
is the
June.
longest day. Yeah.
The longest day, and it normally nearly stays daylight up here right through. So they call it the Simmerdom. And your daughter Sophie, who lives up here,
That's right.
got you a very good photograph for the front album cover as well, didn't she?
She did. She did the
Absolute beauty.
photographs. Yeah, very proud of
Yeah.
her photography. She's a great girl. But,
Well, so
yeah,
am I. So am I, because she done our family. She done the kids ones this year, and down on the beach. And what an amazing job she made of our photographs for the
she's
family.
amazing.
In fact, they're all over our walls. So there's Whitehead all over the walls. You know?
Lovely.
So there you go. So it's brilliant. But anyway, so had you been working on the album for a wee while, or did this just come as it started?
Yeah, we for years we've always had an excuse that we never had any time to make a CD. It was 10 years since we did the last one, I think.
There's
And,
Sophie's web
Sophie.
address. If anybody wants a hold of Sophie, there's where to get your photos done in Shetland. That's the place.
Spot on, yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah.
We'd always talked about having we must do a CD, and all the accordion clubs and things, have you got CDs? And we had the old ones, but we had nothing new. So we decided. I thought, well, we've got no excuse. We've got months and months off here. We'll have to work on something. So I contacted Alan, and it was in between time when we had the little bit leeway where we could get into somebody's house, and we had about 4 weeks, I think. We just I chose a selection of tunes that we played regularly and we were very happy with, and things that we liked. So we called it the Danelaw Dance Band Favourites, and we chose a programme, and Alan and I worked on it, and we were able to get one night's practice in the house before we went into the studio. I'm not sure whether we broke the rules that night. There was 4 of us in the house, but we did. We were 4 corners of the room anyway, and we got into the studio. Was okay.
You both. One of them was a drummer though, was it not? So that's all right.
Yes.
Aye, yeah, that's okay. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That'll cover
David
it.
only
I'm
came
sure.
one night. Yeah,
Yeah.
he came one night, and then the next time we saw him was in the studio. And we hadn't played together, of course, since probably February, March time, and we did this in November. And we were just really pleased to get let loose and get a tune together again. And we had a great time in the studio for 2 days. Ian Stevenson, who recorded it, made a super job, we thought. And we had a great time. So that was the Simmer Dim.
Great.
We thought one of the tunes was Gideon Stove's Simmer Dim. And the very first CD that we ever made, we made it when we came to the Shetland Festival the second year in 1996, and we called that the Shetland Fisherman's Backstep.
Is that really that long ago since that came out? I can't believe that. I was going to mention that, but I can't believe it was that long ago.
1996, the second year we were at the festival. We were there in 94.
I was this old.
And then
You were that old.
Really?
You were that old.
Yeah, 9.
It's frightening. So and then I chose Simmer Dim. I thought it was a nice name, and I actually pictured the cover with Simmer Dim, not realising the significance of the first one being Backstep and the second one being Simmer Dim. It wasn't chosen because of that, but we're very pleased with it. Very pleased with it. It's gone very well.
They have a big bikers rally up here every year, and usually. At the Simmerdom Bikers Rally, and bikers come from all over Europe really, and come up to the thing. So that might be a gig you could put your name in for now, the bikers gig.
Well, I was thinking about sending Boris one because he was going to free the country on 21st of June, but I don't think that's going to happen now. So
Oh yeah, well, no, don't send him one until he's sure. But so what's on the album? How many tracks have you got on the album then?
We've got about 19. We we planned I think about 17. We chose 17, and there's a mixture of things on there, 2 steps and waltzes, beautiful waltz, Muriel Bell waltz composed by George Bell, and Emma's Waltz by Davie Patrick, and
nice.
a selection of tunes, dance tunes that we play at the Scottish dances and the Cayley things that we do. Just a varied selection, but the last 2 tracks came out of the blue because when we finished the 17 tracks, as you know, in the studio, you just go, wow, that's it, done, you relax. And I said, we're going to pack up, and I said to the lads, I said, let's have a proper tune, let's just play something, let's busk something. And we pulled out the Pygmies polka, which we hadn't played for over a year, and we whipped in Pygmies polka and the set of Irish reels at the very end of the CD, not realising that Ian had just switched on the recording machine and recorded them.
Brilliant.
And we were very pleased with them, so we stuck them on at the end. So
that's an old sound. That's an old sound engineer's trick, that, to switch it on when you don't think it's on.
When you're not expecting it,
Yeah, it just takes the pressure off that lovely bit. But
sometimes that's the best take as well.
Yeah.
Yes, we only did them once. We just went through them once, and we were quite happy with them. So. Yeah,
when you don't think it's happening, sometimes it just flows.
Yes.
Because no matter what Andy says, as soon as that red light comes on, it makes a wee bit of difference.
Oh yes,
to you,
yeah.
It's just
you just freeze, don't you? Yeah. It's a different world once that light comes on. Yeah.
Well, we do have another wee set of tunes from you here. Is this next set of tunes? Is this on the album?
No, it's not. It was on one of the earlier albums.
All right, okay.
On one of the Scottish ones, but this is Angus MacLeod. A little story with Angus MacLeod. I mentioned Andrew Rankin giving us the 3 gigs earlier on there that really spread our name around the Scottish dance circuit. We played in Southport in March 1972 for Alex Queen, and Alex devised the dance, Angus MacLeod, and the pattern of the dance is the cap badge of the Black Watch.
Okay.
And we played for Alec, and we stayed the night because we thought Southport was a long way in those days, so we stayed the night with Alex. And of course we didn't get to bed till about 5:30 in the morning. We had a wonderful night after the dance, and with my brother and we played all night in the house and had a great party. And then it took us about 3 years to realise that if we actually just packed up the gear in the car and drove home, we'd be in bed quicker than what we would have been if we'd stayed at Alex. But we became great friends, and we played for him for 25 years from there on until the dance club packed up.
Right.
But he was the only, all the years I played, on the Sunday morning after we played for him, he would phone the home and make sure that the band had got home okay. And he's the only person that's ever done that all the years that we played. He was, he's such a lovely guy.
For getting a hold of the new album, best place to go for it and get a hold of it is your website, which
Just on the website, yes.
Yeah, www.danelawdanceband.co.uk. Remember, folks, all this recorded, so you can always just look back. But pop on, and have you got 2 or 3 CDs up for sale on there now then, Robert? Or?
No, I've just got the one, the other one's
just the one
almost finished, yes, I have just the one.
Collector's items. I've got Shetland Fisherman's backstep somewhere, that's a collector's item. That's brilliant, right, great. So, there you go, folks. So if you would like the new album, please jump on, or if you want Robert as an after-dinner speaker at your event, or to open your garden fete or whatever you fancy, he's up for everything. He'll come along.
Did you say garden gate?
Fete. Garden gate.
Hey, get gigs when you can.
What was that about the garden, Robert? The last time I was speaking to you, did somebody not steal stuff out your garden or something? What happened again?
No,
I can't remember what happened.
Garden. I've spent a year in the garden. I know that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure.
I can't remember. I thought you said somebody had pinched a hose or something like that, and you were looking for it or something. I can't remember.
That's right. That was in yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I thought I left it. Yeah, that's right. I found it actually. I'd misplaced it.
Oh, did you? All right. Oh, well, that's not so bad. Then. Anyway, here we go. We're going to have Angus MacLeod here. What's the tunes in this wee set?
I think it'll be Angus MacLeod, Aitken drum, and it's a George Bell tune, the third one. The names just escaped me. I think there's three tunes in it. I'm not sure.
That Judith's just put in, it was tools for your garden gate. Somebody pinched.
Ah.
Yeah. So.
From the garden gate. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had been busy in the garden. I left them on the wall and it vanished.
Because I remember her saying she felt like putting online to the thief, I hope you enjoy using them, but we've just recovered from COVID.
That's exactly
Take
right.
that. Yeah, that was brilliant. Right, here's this wee set of heels. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Swinging away. The early bobbies there. That's a great tune. Lots and lots of people fair enjoyed tonight. That's been a great wee night. Robert, thank you so much for coming on and joining us again, and I hope you and the family have a great summer, and I hope the playing picks up and gets going a bit again for you.
Thank you both for having me on. You know.
See what Boris says the morning.
Yes.
If he says the right thing, you might send him a CD.
I might. Yeah. I might just do that.
Hopefully
we'll be up to Shetland soon.
Yes, I hope we'll see you and we'll see you in real life.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, Robert, thanks very much for giving us up your time. Remember, folks, if you fancy Robert's new CD, Simmer Dim, jump onto the website, the Danelaw Dance Band 1. And there we go, just a quick flash there for the Danelaw Dance Band, nice and easy to remember as well. And I'm sure Robert will get one in the post to you straight away. And if you want him as an after dinner speaker, just give him the nod as well, and he'll be there. You might get to turn the Blackpool Illuminations on or something like that.
Oh, you never know.
That would be interesting. Robert, thanks very much for coming on and giving us your time tonight. Thank you. Thanks.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, Peter. And
Cheers,
thank you.
Thank you. No bother. Thanks, man. Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
See you after. Cheers. There we go, Davie. You've made it through the night, Davie.
I have. I survived. Just.
You're looking tired now, though.
I didn't sleep last night either because it was this arm and I sleep in this arm.
What one did you get?
Pfizer.
Pfizer. Okay. That's not the one I got. I got something else. AZ. Did I?
That was AstraZeneca, yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
We're not sponsored by any of these companies, by the way.
No. There's other people out there that provide. How do they cover that? There's other people out there that provide.
There's other
COVID
drug
vaccines.
companies.
Yeah,
Vaccine
that's
companies.
Right. You know what I mean. Anyway, listen, folks. Thanks very much for joining us all tonight. And we're going to let Davie go tonight because he looks like he's going straight to bed. So a couple of Horlicks and all that, and then straight to bed. You need the Horlicks. Just straight to bed. Anyway, Davie, well done.
Cheers,
thanks very much to our guests tonight, Graham Rory and Robert Whitehead. Thanks to Karen, she was on the ball there with some of these websites coming up, man. Wow. And take care of yourselves, folks, and we'll see you very soon. And keep you in touch with what's happening with guests next week and all that sort of stuff. But
next week's looking good.
It's always looking good.
It's looking good next week.
This is tartan tunes.
Yeah.
Is there any mugs left, by the way? Have we got any mugs left?
There's one there. Oh, there. There's one there. There's one there. We've got a couple left. If you jump on the website, davidahunter.uk.
Yeah, if you jump onto Davie's site, you could order a mug at the same time you're ordering his book.
That'd be nice.
That would be good.
Nice.
Smashing. Anyway, thanks very much, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next week, or through the week, or whenever it is we see you again. Yeah, Wednesday. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. Wednesday.
See you, folks. Good night.
See you.
Take care.
All the best.
See you later. Bye-bye. Bye.